Hey there, we're talking today about factoring trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c where a is equal to 1. So let's start with something really simple like x squared plus 5x plus 6 where everything is positive. Now what we need two numbers that multiply to make 6 and that add to make 5. So what we do is, if we can't think of the numbers right away, we'll just put the 6 over here, this 6, and then we'll think about numbers that multiply to make 6, writing them in pairs. It's a good idea to start with 1 and 6, or with the number itself and 1, because those might be the numbers. And if we go in sequential order, what we find is that we're less likely to miss the correct pair of numbers. So when we look at 1 and 6, we say, okay, that could make 5, or it could make 7, plus or minus in either case. So if we go 6 minus 1, we get 5. If we go 1 minus 6, we get negative 5. If we go 1 plus 6, we get 7. And if we go negative 1 minus 6, we get negative 7. So because we're looking for 5, we may have the right numbers here. So then what we do is we say, okay, what signs do those two numbers need to have on them in order to get positive 5? Well, this has to be a plus and this has to be a minus, because 6 minus 1, or negative 1 plus 6, is 5. But then we run into a problem, because when we multiply these two signs together, we're not getting this sign here, and we have to. So if those tests fail, or if one of them fails, then what we have to do is we have to abandon that pair of numbers because it's not the right set of numbers. Now luckily we have another pair of numbers that multiplies to make 6 and adds to make 5, and those are 2 and 3. So with those two numbers, what we have to do is we have to put a plus in front of both of them in order to get positive 5. Okay? Now with that positive 5, now the next test we do is we say, okay, when we multiply these two signs, are we getting this sign here? And because the answer is yes, those are definitely the correct two numbers with which to factor this trinomial. So then we go directly to our two factors with those numbers and with the signs that we've identified. If the signs multiply to make anything other than this sign here, then you have to abandon them. You can't start fiddling around with the signs, because if you do, you haven't got this number with this sign anymore. And that's a very quick overview of how to start factoring trinomials.